Am I the idiot for telling my son I can't trust him? And make sure you watch until the end because this story takes a crazy turn during the update. I have 3 kids. A 15-year-old son and 8-year-old twin daughters. They all get along well and my son loves his sisters and vice versa. Sometimes my husband and I have to go to certain events and I ask my son if he can watch his sisters for the night. He usually says yes unless he has plans. I just ask my mom then. So on Friday night we had an event to go to and I again asked my son if he'd be willing to babysit. He said sure, and that was it. We came back at around midnight and I went to check on the kids and my son was fast asleep while one of the twins was puking her guts out and the other one was crying. I was surprised, but I also didn't really blame my son in any way. They weren't really making any noise and were clearly asleep before all hell broke loose. Well, I managed to calm my girls down, and they end up telling me how their big brother was really mean and grumpy all day, and when they asked for food he gave them a jar of peanut butter. The twins cannot have peanut butter, they aren't allergic, but it makes them ill. The girls know as well, but they were hungry, and he said they had to eat it. My son knows this, and the peanut butter is kept out of the twins' sight and reach and is literally only in the house for him. I woke him up the next morning and asked him if all this was true. He just made a noise and was all like, "The little snitches, yes, so they had a little peanut butter, what's the big deal?" I told him that he knows they can have it, and not only that, but I also don't like how they described his attitude. Especially when he told them they had to eat it. He just told me to stop overthinking. He forgot peanut butter makes them that sick. He only said they had to eat it because he didn't want them going hungry. He didn't feel like ordering, cooking or warming up leftovers either, and also the twins were being annoying. I told him that these excuses are not good enough, and that what he did was honestly kind of cruel. I told him that I don't know if I can trust him with the girls anymore as well. He just rolled his eyes and told me that I'm being really freaking dramatic and that the twins will be fine. I don't need to act like this. He's really upset with me, and every time me or his dad says anything, he'll just reply with, "Oh, I thought I was cruel? I thought you couldn't trust me?" He's not budging and he's not normally like this, so I'm wondering, am I the idiot? My sister told me to post on here since I'm so conflicted. Didn't think it would hurt. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. If this had been someone other than your son, I'd be calling it abuse and assault. Certainly negligent. He is clearly unreliable and I'd be very upset. The fact you let your son talk to you in such a manner is alarming as well. Comment 2. Not the idiot, but I'm concerned about all the kids involved here. Has there been a sharp change in his behavior recently? Is there possibly a need of his that's not being met? Perhaps he feels like the twins are getting preferential treatment. I'd explore that route first. Something is not right if he's all of a sudden causing intentional harm to his younger siblings. Keep the younger ones safe and have a real talk with the older ones. If he's not willing to talk to you, take him to a professional. Then the original poster responded with, "Now that you mention it, he's definitely more in his head and not aware of what's going on around him. Also, he's very stubborn now, but I assumed it was just puberty. He's not normally like that. I'll discuss other options with my husband once he gets back from work." Now for the update. First, I'm sorry if I make mistakes or if I don't make sense. I'm in shock and I've been crying for hours. My sister reminded me of my post and then suggested quickly writing an update to help myself process the situation. Like I said, I talked to my son, just him and I. He implied that something happened to him and seemed really nervous. His hands were shaking, he couldn't keep eye contact, etc. He said that he'll tell me once Dad comes home because he doesn't know if he can muster up the courage to say it again. This concerned me a lot. I was hoping that it was girl problems, and now that I know what it was, I wish it was him feeling like he babysits too much like many of you guys suggested. His dad came home and we put the girls to bed. Then we sat down to talk. He then told us what happened. I'm being vague on purpose, but I have never seen my husband cry, and what our son told us was enough to break us both. My son began to just say whatever came into his mind and said that he had interacted with the person that inflicted harm upon him earlier that day and was in a very off mood. Anything the twins did made him angry, and then they asked for food, but he was in a bad mood, so he offered the fruit and quick and easy junk food I had mentioned we had, but they refused to eat it. He said that he suddenly felt as if he was back where the bad thing happened to him, and he ended up telling them that he was going to give them peanut butter for being annoying. The same way that person did something to him for being disruptive and annoying. He told me they were hesitant, but they ate it so as to not make him angrier, and when he snapped back to reality he got nervous and made them promise not to tell. The girls then said something which put him back in that bad place, but he managed to go into his room before he did anything else. He said he was really sorry and that he's really scared because he can feel himself turning into the person that did that to him. He said that he doesn't know why he yelled at me so much and he just would not stop crying. We comforted him and he ended up falling asleep. I'll be honest though, I'm scared. His behavior changes are making sense now, but I never thought that person would do such a thing to my baby. My poor son who was so freaking scared. We're going to get a lawyer in again, being vague on purpose, but my husband is determined to put that sick, disgusting human away. We'll also be getting therapy for my son. I was going to talk about some things you guys mentioned, but I don't know if I can write anymore. I'm exhausted. Just know that I took everything into consideration. My son won't be babysitting for a while due to his mental health. Not because I don't trust him, but because of his own fear. I'll also be booking a doctor's appointment to figure out the girl's problem with peanuts. Also, parents, please keep in mind that although it's true that teens can be massive jerks, big changes don't occur simply due to puberty. There is always a bigger reason. Bullying, peer pressure, drugs, sexual abuse, etc. Anything is possible. It's easy to think that things can happen to your children, but look at where that left me. I thought my kids would be safe. We live in the safest neighborhood, and my kids are growing up with lots of privileges many can only dream of. Yet my son was still hurt. By an adult we all trusted. Don't make my mistake. Teach your kids to say no and scream for help. Tell them that no one has the right to their bodies. Tell your sons that it can happen to them. I know it's hard, but it's a lot harder to hear your child cry because it happened. I didn't think my post would get any attention, but maybe it was for the better. At least now people know what can happen to their children. My son is female 6, tall, and has the build of a true hockey player, and it happened to him. He's not shy and is never afraid to speak his mind, but he still kept it a secret. Don't make my mistakes. If I don't respond to any more comments, please excuse me. I only wrote this because my husband is taking a shower, my children are asleep, and I can't stand being alone with my thoughts right now. Again, I appreciated all the comments, even the ones criticizing my parenting. Comment 1. You're the idiot. Are you kidding me? This whole story is just a desperate attempt to gain sympathy and attention. It's obvious that you're exaggerating and manipulating the situation to make yourself look like a victim. Your son made a mistake, but it's clear that he didn't have any ill intentions. You're blowing things way out of proportion and making a big deal out of nothing. It's just peanut butter, for God's sake. And now you're talking about getting a lawyer and therapy? That's absolutely ridiculous. Stop trying to play the victim card and move on. Your son doesn't need your constant judgment and criticism. Maybe if you were a better parent, he wouldn't feel the need to act out. You should be ashamed of yourself. Before we get on to the next comment, I just want to say that whoever wrote that is insane. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, here's the next comment. Oh God. This was my worst fear about your situation. I'm so sorry. You and your husband are great parents, and you're doing all the right things. Please try and believe that this isn't your fault. It can happen to the children of the most wary and involved parents who have educated their children. Perpetrators of this crime can be so skillful in their abhorrent behavior. My mom did all the right things, but my brother and I are still CSA survivors. Your son will be okay, eventually. There's a whole community here for him when he's ready. Comment 3. I'm so sorry that you all are going through this. I saw your post yesterday, and had you on my mind today. I'm sending positive thoughts and wishes to you all. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for brushing off my adopted brother's feelings of being second best in our family? I, female 18, have 4 siblings, Tom, male 29, Cam, male 26, Sam, male 24, and Ro, male 19. Ro was adopted when he was 13. His biological parents decided they didn't want a baby. The rest of us are biologically siblings. All 5 of us went to an art school. The older boys for music, me for art, and Ro is going for dance. I found out through some friends that Ro has been saying our parents have always treated him differently. This weekend Ro has a show, but my art show is the same day. A couple days ago our parents said they tried to make it to him, but they're not totally sure if they could. He hung up on them and according to one of our friends locked himself in his dorm and wouldn't talk to anyone. His roommate called me and said he's still really upset and was hoping I could talk to him. I said he was just being sensitive and I hung up to call him. I let him vent for a while. According to him, Mom and Dad have always put everyone else first. He also said they were disappointed when he went to dance. But they got over it. I said he was overreacting and needed to chill out. He hung up on me and blocked my number. Now I'm getting texts and calls from his roommate, Sam, and all our mutual friends saying I'm an idiot, I'm a witch, I'm selfish and I need to apologize. Mom, Dad, Tom and Cam are on my side. So am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. You're the idiot. And your parents too. Divide and conquer. Why can't one come to your show and the other go to his? Them prioritizing your show is evidence to him that they haven't gotten over him doing dance. It's evidence to him that they don't really care. It's their job to show him they do. Then the original poster responded with, "You're right, thank you for being honest. Now I see they haven't gotten over it but pretended in front of us other kids. It kind of makes me wonder if they've said anything to him in private or more just silently disapproved. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Your brother has only been a member of your family for 5 years. He also has 13 years of feeling unwanted, insecure, and having every fear of rejection come to fruition. Your positions are not the same, and your breathtaking lack of awareness says that both you and your parents and your other siblings are cool with a lack of imagination, empathy, and understanding that borders on abusive. You guys all needed to go out of your way to make him feel included and secure, and instead, you're all on the same page that it's okay to treat him like an also-ran. You suck, your parents suck, your siblings suck, and you are all unforgivably in the "you're the idiot" column. Then the original poster responded with, "I never thought of it like that." So basically after he got adopted he was still feeling like a guest who's overstayed. That explains a lot. Comment 3. You're the idiot. Do you have any idea how traumatizing adoption is? You seem to have no care for him in the slightest, which confirms him saying he's treated differently in the family. I'm assuming this isn't the first time your parents have picked a bio child over him. He probably finally had enough. "You're being dramatic," is what people say to people they have absolutely no empathy or care for. I feel sorry for him. Now for the update. Thank you everyone for your input. I decided against going to my art show, called all of our family and friends and had them show up to his instead. We got it sold out. We all met up with him for lunch beforehand and gave him his little gifts. He said he appreciates it, but it'll take a while to trust us again, which is very valid considering how we've been treating him. He also introduced us to his boyfriend. They're adorable together. Mom and Dad thanked him for being someone Ro could turn to when he needed someone. They did great. They even got a standing ovation at the end. Ro did injure his ankle slightly in the beginning of Act 1 during his first solo, but played it off amazingly. I'm proud of him, and it was amazing to formally meet his boyfriend. Mom and Dad sat him down in front of all of us and apologized for how they treated him and promised they'd do better. After the show he came up and hugged me while crying to thank me. I told him it was all you guys. Thank you guys again. Comment 1. Thank you for the update. It could about anyone else, but it makes my heart so happy when people are able to accept their part in this situation and try to rectify it. Comment 2. I just read your original post, and I am so happy to see that you saw the error of your ways, rallied with your family, and showed up. You all still have work to do to mend the trust that was broken, but this was a great first step. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.